Welcome to Most. Vítáme vás v Mostě.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Most indeed. Welcome back to Autodrom Most and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I cannot believe it, but we're already into the final race of the weekend. We have 4 races and 2 qualifying sessions each weekend in the championship, and it always flies by very, very quickly. Now, we've got a lot for the drivers and teams to think about right now. There's a lot of drama going on in the paddock right now, I've been told as well. We've got sources all over the place giving us as much information as possible, and we will come to that in just a second, because before they even get to the grid, it seems they've got challenges. But if they do get away from said grid, I mean, look at the shape of this place. Most is a very tough circuit indeed. 21 corners around here, and some very tight and twisty ones that all lead into very important corners of their own. It's certainly a massive challenge for drivers and, of course, for teams to get setups right as well throughout the entire weekend. It's so narrow in places that it's incredibly difficult to overtake, incredibly difficult to go side by side. And if you do see a lot of battling going on, you can bet that if there is another truck behind the 2 trucks you see battling, they'll be with them in no time. Any side-by-side antics here can really hold you up, and we've seen that a couple of times over the course of the weekend. The 4th and final race of the weekend is where we see the second of our 2 races which have reverse grids. The top 8 finishing trucks from the race before will then be reversed on the grid. So if you finish in 8th position, you'll be put onto provisional pole, and then of course 7th goes to 2nd, 6th goes to 3rd, and so on. Now, Jamie Anderson was supposed to be starting on pole position for this one after he just beat Stefan Fass to the line at the end of the last race. So it was a dramatic moment there, which we've seen the onboard footage for, and Stefan was very, very unhappy with how that race turned out. Jamie was going to be lining up alongside Lucas Hahn. Now, I said he was going to be, and he was supposed to be, in the way that in the awning where Sasha Lenz and Jamie Anderson both share, basically, the 2 trucks are often together. They all work very well together. There's actually been a number of moments very recently, actually, where Sasha Lenz had to change his engine after the last race. We did note that there was an issue with it once the race had finished. Even Norbert Kish was mentioning it during his interview. And we've heard that they managed to get the engine going, and while they were doing the repairs, there was a piston rod leapt out of the engine and made a hole in the top of the awning. Nobody was hurt, everybody was fine, but obviously a very scary moment. They've got the engine running again, but all of a sudden now, there is no power. So the truck actually can't get going under its own steam all of a sudden. And then to make matters worse, Jamie Anderson has hopped in his truck and got ready to go to the grid, and obviously turn up where we see all the drivers arriving now, and suddenly his turbo has blown up. So it has gone all completely to pot under that awning. Now, they're not technically teamed up in the Teams Championship. We actually have Sasha Lenz teamed up with Shane Brereton this season as Low and Power, because Jamie was quite a late entrant to the 2022 Championship. And he's either going to be a late entrant to this one or not at all. So hopefully we get the British driver on the grid and onto pole position. If not, we're going to have an amazing battle between Lucas Hahn and Teo Calve at the very front of this one. But here is how your grid should have lined up then. Jamie Anderson, pole position for him, with Lucas Hahn alongside. Trucks 33 and 22 on the front row, both of them taking their maiden wins this season from these reverse grid races. Teo Calve starts alongside his Bagheera teammate, Adam Latchko. Adam definitely in a good seat here to take an overall victory in front of a home crowd. Antonio Alberthetti will be starting 5th alongside his long-term rival, Jochen Hahn. Both of them very, very good friends on the 3rd row of the grid. Sasha Lenz should be starting 7th, but that's if they get the problem sorted. We might see him start from the pit lane. He's alongside championship leader Norbert Kish, who would be 8th on the grid. Next up, we have Stefan Fass and Steffi Halm. The 2 of them getting locked together quite literally yesterday in their trucks. The 2 bumper bars becoming latched onto one another after contact out of turn 2. Jose Rodriguez will start 11th alongside Andre Kurzim, who's had a very, very subtle weekend, to be honest with you. Everything's not really gone his way so far. Same for Shane Brayton. He may have been promoted a few places during yesterday's second race, but that's only a small consolation, really, to what's been quite a difficult weekend for Shane and the team. And then at the back of the grid, we have Jonathan Andre as well, having his first race weekend in the Lion Truck Racing machine. Obviously taking the seat of Anthony Janiek, who we recently lost, very unfortunately. There is Lucas Hahn's partner stood nearby, trying to keep him calm at least before this race. The last time he started on pole in... Well, actually, no, it wasn't even the last time he started on pole, was it? Didn't he start on pole for race 2 yesterday, I believe? I'll have to have a look on that one. Apologies, I've not got that one printed out. But we had, obviously, Lucas Hahn on pole position at the Nürburgring. He was on pole position yesterday as well, actually. Led pretty much the whole race until Jamie Anderson took the lead at the very final corner after a little bit of contact. The two of them got on absolutely fine about it and had a good chat, and all was good. It was just hard racing. But Lucas has won from pole position before in race 2 of the weekend. He's not done it from race 4 of the weekend. However, this is the perfect opportunity. It's only his second weekend in the championship, and he's certainly enjoying himself. We'll have a look at what he thinks right now as he's speaking to Andreas.
Yes. Lucas, if you look to your right at the moment, there's no Jamie Anderson. He has some small issues with the turbo. Is it maybe an advantage when one of your rivals are missing?
No, yeah, the start have to be complete that we can have a nice race, and it's good to have somebody on the side. It's not we don't wish to other drivers the bad things. So from that side, we hope he get his truck fit, and we can start the race.
Yeah. It's not new that you are starting from the front row. You are used to be on the front row, Nürburgring, for example. What about your nervous? Are you a little bit nervous at the moment, or is it more calm?
Yeah, it's every time a different situation, and from that side, it's a little bit inside, but I can handle it.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck. Back to you, Chess.
Thank you very much. And it's nice to hear from Lucas that he's already got his father's level-headedness, because, as you heard there, they don't want to wish bad things on other competitors. Obviously, it would make his life easier if Jamie Anderson doesn't make it to the grid, but I believe he is on his way. I've been told that he's got the truck started in the end. They've sorted something out, and I'm just having a look now at the info I've been sent. And yeah, it was an issue with the turbo and general issues with the engine that they've swapped in. There was a big hole in the top of the block after the last one. That's the second time this weekend, actually, we've had a big hole punctured through the top or the side of an engine. Antonio Alberthetti had that problem yesterday. That's Adam Latchko, with some work being done by the Bagheera team right now, actually. Adam's going to be starting this race 4th on the grid behind his teammate there, Teo Calve. And was that Sasha Lenz's truck on its way, actually? It looked like Sasha was on his way to the grid through the pit lane. So we may get our full complement of drivers for this one, which will be great, because after hearing of the problems, I was worried that we were only going to have a 10-truck race for this one. Sorry, a 12-truck race. I did that yesterday, didn't I? I keep assuming that we've got 12 trucks rather than 14 for us this weekend. And yes, Sasha Lenz is on his way, actually. He's making his way around to the grid now, so that's great to see. Top work by the team to get that sorted and have him all prepared. He'll be using this lap as a very nervous inspection lap of how everything is running to keep him all nice and calm. And there is Jamie Anderson making his way to the grid. He's going to be starting on pole position for this one. And they're going to make sure everything's all sorted now while he is out there on the grid. Clearly something still needs working on. But these teams are incredibly efficient, so fast at sorting everything. There was a lot of Jamie's team helping Sasha's team sort the engine change out between the two races. And there is clearly things still being tightened on the turbocharger there on the right-hand side of Jamie's engine. The turbochargers on these trucks are absolutely massive. Most people could fit the majority of their forearm down the incredible tubes that lead into and out of these whopping great turbos. The engines in this championship are around 13-litre, 6-cylinder turbocharged engines, all running on 100% renewable HVO diesel. Tim Frost just walked over there for a second just to have a look what was going on, maybe to offer a bit of help. As we heard from Tim yesterday, he's one of those guys, he just absolutely loves just working. He loves just working on the trucks and getting it going. And to the right of shot there, you will see Andreas is going to speak to Jamie Anderson.
Yes, Chess, you are right. Jamie, so we are totally surprised what happened to Team Löwenpower. We saw engine failure, engine problems by Sasha. You have to change the engine. You helped him, and now you have some, I don't know, problems with your turbo. Is it right?
Yes, this is correct. We went to start up to come out, and we found that the new turbo we put on had failed. So the boys have had to just take the turbo back off in this time that we've just had there. So it's all a big rush, but you know, you cannot write this script. He's one of these, and the boys work really hard. We work very close with Sasha, even though we're not teamed up with him anymore. And even before he come out, he coming out. You know, we are like a family with it.
Let's talk about race 3, the last corner, the last curve. If you can't pass, it was Steffen Faas. You won't stay here on the pole position for race 3. Do you think it was racing accident? I think you touched him a little bit.
Yeah, I think that there's many ways to look at that. I had the nose up the side of the truck. He probably didn't give me enough space. You know, this is racing. You know, Rubin's racing, and this is the way it was, and we have to fight for a championship, you know, and we was clearly a lot faster than him. He did a good job at blocking, but fell for the dummy at the end. And I think we was in a good, strong position to be able to counteract and keep that move.
At this moment now, what about your level of adrenaline in your body?
Yeah, I would say it's very high, you know, but we have to control this, and this is the same on the track. You know, we have to control it and control what we're doing.
Good luck for the race. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go then, Jamie Anderson just making it to the grid in time. Always very appreciative of his team. And of course, the guys are working incredibly hard to make sure that he is ready to go and that the truck is quite literally firing on all cylinders, and obviously has as much power as they can have within the regulations. Turbocharger, quite, I don't want to say easy, because it's definitely not an easy job, but the turbocharger are a lot more accessible on these machines, as you can see. That's one of the joys of working on them, is the fact that everything is so accessible. They are so large, you can literally stand between the inside of the engine bay. You can stand between the engine and the bodywork, basically, and be inside. Especially when you head into the paddock and you see them all working on these trucks, and the people are literally stood inside the engine bays. It's awesome to see. We've got fans and spectators all up close with the machines. Everybody getting a good look at these magnificent beasts that will be making their way around the circuit very soon. And again, I bring up the point that if you haven't been to see truck racing before, I honestly do urge you to go and see it. Even if you don't think it's quite your bag, you know, you may be here today watching our broadcasts just trying to figure out what it's all about and see where the appeal lies, because we know that it's not everybody's cup of tea, but honestly, it's something I've fallen madly in love with as part of the job. It's just great fun. And we're going to have a quick look here at the engine change that was going on with Sasha Lenz and the team. You can see Jamie Anderson himself getting hands-on with it there as well. Sasha helping lower the new engine in, or take the old engine out at least. That's taking the gearbox off. You can see just the size of the components and the size of the tools needed as well for these things. They have these massive cranes that they use to bring the engines in. Look at the size of the clutch even as well. It's like a small moon, the clutch. Jamie, there you go. You can see him stood inside the truck between the bodywork and the engine. It's remarkable. Absolutely. But again, we often say one truck family, and I know that I even repeat this phrase a lot, but Christina and I always say one truck family is not just a hashtag, it's the true meaning of the family spirit behind the championship, and it's very, very true. You know, all the teams help each other, everyone gets on. Even just a moment ago, you could see Tim Frost came over from T-Sport, but now not even in a team directly associated with Jamie or any of his guys, and he just offered to just, you know, say, do you want a bit of help? Do you need anything? What's the situation? Great stuff. You know, that's all you need in motorsport, is teams helping each other out. It's still a very competitive championship, but at the same time, everyone's here for the same reason, and they all want a good race with a full grid, and that's exactly what we love to see. Here is our Ford F-Max, the International Truck of the Year 2019, also something that we love to see. And I must send out my apologies, because it is not Lucas and Tony driving this week. But I was corrected earlier on, and it is Ralph Gregor driving the Ford this time round. But he also throws this thing about as hard as possible. And of course, it is all down to him to complete the inspection lap. It was great to get some of the onboards on the broadcast there for a moment as well, and just have a look at a driver's eye view of what was going on from inside the cab. Thanks as ever to Sensata Smart Witness for giving us their footage, and of course helping the paddock out in such a great way. You know, it helps the broadcast at the moment, and obviously the stewards and officials as well in terms of making their decisions. It's all for judicial review as part of the championship, and of course a very important thing within the industry as well. You want to make sure that you have eyes on everything. There is ever the need for it. If you have cameras in all angles as well, then you know that you're covered against what you need to be covered against. You know, you've got every eventuality looked at, just in case there is the situation where you have an incident on the road. Obviously helps out a lot of people that have haulage companies and any other operations going on with large vehicles such as these. And Ralph completes the inspection lap in the Ford F-Max over in the blink of an eye. It's a very fast truck, that Ford F-Max, I can tell you that for free. I've had a few rides in it thrown around the differing circuits on the calendar, and it is great, great fun. You really don't expect it to go around corners as quickly as it does. It's just frightening how well they handle. It just shows you how impressive modern day tractor units can be. So a bit of silence over the circuit once again in anticipation for the final race of the weekend. Norbert Kish will be looking to just get the odd extra point over Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz, because that will mean that he has more than an race meeting's worth of points more than those two, which would be a very commanding position to have in the championship, especially going into the last three race meetings. Next weekend, we are at Zolder in Belgium. After that, we will be heading to Le Mans. We'll be racing at the Bugatti circuit once again. A race meeting I am thoroughly looking forward to. One of the best meetings of 2021, if you ask me. We had a lot of rain as well, which really shook things up. We had the same here at Most, but this weekend it's remained dry, it's remained sunny. It's been a beautiful weekend for everyone. But it hasn't meant that the racing has been boring in any way. The racing has been excellent. So 30-second board in the air. Everyone prepares to leave the grid onto the formation lap for the final time this weekend, with our beloved Frank the Tank driving us away in the Iveco S-Way, the bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way. Great to have Iveco on board as partners of the championship. And the green flag is waved. Jamie Anthony from the front row of the grid. Teo Calve and his teammate Adam Latchko are next up. And then behind them, we will have Antonio Alberthetti and Jochen Hahn. on podiums between them. Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albertetti have over 550 podiums between them. It's an absolutely amazing figure in the championship. They've got over 1,000 starts between them too. Over 1,100 actually. 1,000, let me figure this out now. 1,146 starts. 49 starts. 1,149 starts between the two of them. That took me a while, sorry. We've got Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish on the next row of the grid on row 4. Watch out for both of them making their way through. You can see how much darker it's getting here at Most, actually, as the sun is setting 25 to 5 in the afternoon. And the drivers will have to have their wits about them in case the sun does continue to go down and cast any sharp light in their eyes at certain points of the circuit. I think we might be okay, though, to be fair. On the 5th row of the grid, we have Stefan Faas and Steffi Halm. Stefan's going to be trying to prove a point, that's for sure. Yeah, he starts for him right at the back of the grid. He was down in 13th, actually. He only had Jonathan Andre, who you see there in the bright yellow 66, behind him. But Stefan made a fantastic getaway. We've got Jose Rodriguez and Andre Kurzim on row 6. Another two drivers that have had great chances this weekend to do well, but it's just not come their way, unfortunately. And then on the back row of the grid, we have Shane Brereton, very under the radar this weekend, is Shane. He's going to hope to stand out a little bit more in this one after being the reigning Promoters Cup champion from 2021. He's now a double Promoters Cup champion as well. He won it in 2018, won the British Truck Racing Championship in 2015 as well. The man, how much darker it is from that shot there. Look, it's almost like we're racing completely at dusk here. Would be interesting to do so, of course, in the trucks. They do have lights. They're within the windscreen, basically, these humongous LED units that are very bright. And they're kept well away from the front corners of the trucks, which obviously get banged about quite a lot. But there has been a feasibility study passed in the last few months that has basically outlined the fact that it is feasible to go endurance racing in these wonderful trucks. So hopefully in coming years there will be a potential special event where we will see endurance style truck racing. And when that gets announced, I will book my flight instantly. Unless it happens here in the UK, of course. I'd imagine that with the background of the championship and the organisation, we would probably have it in Germany somewhere. But that is all just speculation from me. We'll have to wait and see if there are any announcements about that in the near future. So, Jamie Anderson then leads the field around into the final corner in what's going to be his 97th start in the championship. He's got 3 overall race victories, 3 overall podiums, and all of them came this year so far. This is going to be the 20th round of the 2022 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's Anderson versus Hahn on the front row. They crawl at a very, very slow pace and then get their foot down, and the final race of the day is underway at Most. And look at the acceleration from Norbert Kish. He's had a great getaway. Sascha Lenz has got Stefan Faas down his inside, putting pressure on, and Anderson has cleared Lucas Hahn before they even get to turn 1. Fantastic stuff by Jamie. Holds on to the lead. Adam Latchko round the outside of his teammate Teo Calve. There's going to be a big check-up here through turn 2. Jamie can really open it up, though. He's not side-by-side with anybody. Teo Calve runs wide on the exit. Hahn stays with Anderson in second place. Latchko third. Calve fourth. Looks like Jochen Hahn has got past Antonio Albertetti. Yes, he has. He's through. Side-by-side, Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz just behind them as well. Norby's going to have the inside to the left-hander. You can hear somebody really, really sliding the tyres along the circuit. Either a lock-up or a drift by somebody just lighting up the rears a little bit too much. Hard into turn 10. Late on the brakes is Jochen Hahn, nearly into the back of Teo Calve. Look at the check-up there. Is that contact at the back? It is. That's Jose Rodriguez down the inside of Stefan Faas. And he's going to shovel him out wide on the exit as well. Shane Brereton's off. Or is he? No, Andre Kurzim's off. Completely sideways, still on the power. Jonathan Andre slams on the brakes at the back of the pack. I thought Shane Brereton was going... Jose Rodriguez just tried to get on the power as early as he could and get away from it. Look at this attack now. Jochen Hahn all over the back of Teo Calve into turn 15. He's going to look around the outside. Doesn't quite work there. He's going to try and open up the exit, though, and get a good run into turn 16. Nearly goes into the back of him again. Teo has put in some incredible defensive drives in the 2 seasons that I've been commentating on this championship. And it looks like he might have to do another one here. He's got 3 absolute titans. 9 championships between... No, not even that, actually. 12 championships between the 3 drivers that he's got behind him. You've got 6 in the form of Jochen Hahn, then 3 each for Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kish. That is one hell of a list of drivers to hold off. Jamie Anderson leads, though, at the end of the first lap, and he's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? Considering that truck didn't really want to play ball earlier in it, didn't have a functioning turbo a few minutes ago. It's doing a mighty job out at the front. Jamie Hutton on the way, hopefully, for his 4th victory of the season. And his 4th victory in his career as well. It'd be a hell of a story. Lucas Hahn next up. Also got his maiden victory this season, and Norbert Kish has gone past Antonio Albacete, or has he? Now, these 2 are teammates in the Teams Championship. Norbert made contact with him, and he's given the place back. Look, you can see he let off for a moment there. Let Antonio him through, mate. I'm going to try this, and I want to have a go as well. Slots in behind him. Steffi Halm in the Iveco just behind him as well. That's turn 6 dealt with, sorry. Turn 7, and then turn 8. Turn 9 is the left-hander, and then hard onto the brakes into turn 10. Steffi Halm has a little look down the inside of Sasha Lenz, but nothing doing there. She's got Jose Rodriguez right behind in 10th position. The whole top 10 covered by 6.5 seconds when they crossed the line. And they power away from us through turn 12 into 13. The penalty markers have been completely eradicated from the entrance of turn 13 already. And Antonio Albacete now between Hahn and Kish. He's going to bring out all of his best defences to stop Norby from getting further forward in this race. Now, you only get 10 points for winning this one, as opposed to the 20 that you score for winning the first race of each day, where the grid order is decided on merit of qualifying, as opposed to being reversed. So each position is only worth 1 point. It's basically 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 10. So each position in the overall championship is worth just 1 point more. Anderson would score 10 in the Promoters' Cup as well. Lucas Hahn would get 9, but then Teo Calve, despite being 4th overall, would still get 8 points because he's 3rd in class. Rodriguez would get 7, even though he's down in 10th overall. So their positions have only basically got to count off where they are in the class rather than in the overall race. But look at everyone together, from Lucas Hahn all the way back, even to Shane Brereton in 11th position. One big train. It's Hahn, Latchko, Calve, Hahn, Albacete, Kish, Lenz, Halm, Rodriguez, Brereton. And then behind them we have Stefan Faas, Andre Kurzim and Jonathan Andre in 14th position at the back. And that's a big lock up there from Lucas Hahn on his way into turn 6. Left-hander at the bottom of the hill. You can see they have to slightly curve around to the right, which is turn 5, before getting it all stopped. And then they have to try and manage the weight transfer all the way over to the left. 7 trucks in one shot there as they go around the hairpin. Looks absolutely amazing. And look at the run that Norbert Kish has got on the back of Antonio Albacete. He's giving him a push. Big shove all the way down to 13. Backs out of it, obviously. Going through there, doesn't want to push Antonio off the road. I think it's safe to say that these two are definitely the closest two on track right now, although Jochen Hahn's really closing in on Teo Calve once more. Teo's trying to hold on to 4th place overall for some good championship points. But this is 3-time champion Norbert Kish against 3-time champion Antonio Albacete. Between them, Antonio has 107 race wins to his name. Norby has 74. Norby has 161 podiums in his career. Antonio Albacete, 276. Out of everybody on the grid, Antonio has the most podium finishes. Jochen Hahn is closing in on him, though. He's only 7 behind him. And we have another 12 races left to go this season. Pretty sure Antonio has the most podiums in the history of the championship as well, actually. We'd have to definitely confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Jamie Anderson continues to lead then. Nice and tidy into turns 1 and 2. This train behind is starting to get a little bit impatient on the back of Lucas Hahn. Adam Latchko is in third place, and his home race really wants to score a podium at least. So he needs to hold his current position, but he will be eyeing up that race win. He's clearly confident to try and get past Lucas Hahn and then go chasing down Jamie Anderson. There's just no definitive overtaking places around here. You really have to make your own luck around Most and force the error out of the drivers in front. We see a lot of mistakes down here into the hairpin at turn 10. They're not really going to come the way of either of those three, though. Jochen Hahn, Antonio Albacete and Norbert Kisch. Three of the finest truck racing drivers you'll have ever seen. And again, you saw Norby take a very late apex and really open up the exit there so he could open the taps early and close in on Antonio. But he's still not able to do it. It's fantastic battling to watch, and it's clean racing and it's green racing as well. 100% renewable HVO diesel in all of these trucks. There are black smoke rules in the championship, which are now enforced by lambda sensors, which are installed in each of the exhaust systems. So if they detect that whatever is coming out of said exhaust is not fitting with the sustainable nature of the championship, then they will pull them in to get it sorted before they let them go back out on the circuit. It's a wonderful measure that they take, and it's very interesting to see how it all pans out. Now look, Norbert Kisch all over the back of Albacete. He moved to the right-hand side there, did Antonio, just to show, I am defending, you are in my head here, and that's exactly what Norby wants. He wants to know that he's getting inside the mind of the very experienced Spaniard. Previous Spanish Formula Renault champion and Spanish touring car champion. Factory driver for Fiat, BMW and Opel during the 1990s. Antonio Albacete knows exactly what he needs to do here. But it's incredibly difficult to hold off Norbert Kisch. He is so relentless, so fast. But look at the 6 of them through the chicane. 7 of them now as Sasha Lenz joins in this fight as well. Jochen Hahn losing a bit of ground actually through that chicane to Teo Calve. There is always quite the check-up in there. It's not really a chicane that's designed with trucks in mind, to be honest with you. I know that the Euro NASCAR drivers have been having trouble with it this weekend, and their racing machines are considerably smaller than ours. They behave like they're about twice as heavy, but they are considerably smaller in dimensions. So trying to get all these trucks around there is a challenge. Now look at Norbert Kisch in the red machine. Watch this. He's opened up the corner, takes a late apex, gets on the power earlier, and just starts to reel in Antonio on the exit as he goes up the gears. That's not as dramatic as it has been in previous laps, but it certainly looks like he gets a good run, doesn't it? Now, for second place, Adam Latchko is starting to really hunt down Lucas Hahn at this point. Lucas is going to have to start defending a lot harder very soon. Either that, or he just tries to remain completely unfazed by Adam's progress, and Adam actually ran very wide through turn 16. I'm not sure if there was contact that caused it, but the 2017 champion seems to be in a little spot of bother there, and Teo Calve has gone through. There was some dust kicked up at the side of the road there. I'm not sure anybody's gone off, but now it's Teo Calve on the inside, and is he ahead of his teammate? No, Latchko's still in there. That means Calve's side by side with Jochen Hahn, and Norbert Kisch is on the outside of Antonio Albacete, 2 by 2. Noah's Ark style around the final corner. And there they are. Teo Calve remains in front, and Hahn has lost out to Albacete and to Norbert Kisch. Albacete moves all the way over to the right-hand side. Norby is still there. I'm not sure there's an overlap, or is there? Norby seems determined to say that there is. There might have been contact between the two of them there. Hopefully they don't end up latched together like we saw with Shane Brayton and Steffi Halm at the Slovakia ring. Into turn 1 they go. 12 championship titles in one shot there amongst those 3 trucks. Oh, Jochen's really big elbow full in the face, and Norbert Kisch loses out to Sasha Lenz and Steffi Halm. And there seems to be damage to Norby's truck. There's smoke coming from it. Is that front left tyre going down? I really hope it isn't. But that was a big old face full of Iveco there for Norbert Kisch. And now he's going to work extra hard indeed if he wants to gain any championship points on his rivals. He's right up behind Steffi Halm. And now he's got to try and do all that work all over again. He drops down into 9th place. Started 8th on the grid, moved up at the start You can see definite smoke coming from the front left corner. Must just be a little bit of bodywork maybe rubbing along there. Sasha Lenz trying to have a go at Jochen Hahn just in front. And Norby down the inside on the brakes into turn 15. Tries to go as late as he dares through there. Steffi gives him the room. She's now on the inside for turn 16. If Norbert can hang it around the outside there, it would be fantastic to try and get the move done into 17. He does. He's down the inside and he's through and the overlap is gone. Fantastic move by Norbert Kish. And now look, Jose Rodriguez wants a piece of this as well. He's trying to sneak around the outside of Steffi Hahn. Well, there's nothing sneaky about it, to be honest. He's in a 5.5-ton bright blue truck. It's not exactly the stealthiest machine on the planet. Jose Rodriguez is not very often stealthy in his approach at going forward either. And now Shane Brayton's involved in this as well. Shane throws it up the inside. Jose says, "Not on your life, sunshine." I don't know how to say it in Portuguese, otherwise I would. Now, I refuse to believe that those penalty markers are still there. We lost them out of the corner of the shot, unfortunately. But Norbert Kish has damage to his truck. Everyone ahead, though, is staying in order. Jamie Anderson leads. Lucas Hahn in second place. These two are having a fantastic weekend of it, to be honest with you. Jamie is gone and up the road. Adam Latchko, third place at the moment. Teo Calve, fourth. Great stuff for Bagheera. Adam's home race, at least. Some of Teo's bodywork waving to Antonio Alberthetti in fifth place. He wants his 277th career podium, but it seems like it's taking a while to come to him. At Misano at the start of the season, Antonio got his first race win since 2017. It's been a long time since Antonio's won a race. And it feels like even a long time since then. Lucas Hahn is driving like a man who has the experience of his father, to be honest with you. He shows absolutely no sign of buckling under pressure, does Lucas. Touch wood. He is a real star of this championship. He's a race-by-race entrant this season, so he's not doing the full campaign. But we had him at the Nürburgring, and we have him here again at Most. And he is a real shining light to have in the paddock in this championship. He's defending so well from Latchko. Now, Norbert Kish was saying coming into this weekend that a lot of them would be very quick around here because a lot of them do their testing here. It's one of the best places to test the racing trucks and get all the setups dialed in because it's so hard to get a truck set up properly around this one. You can see that the battle in the background has really spread out actually between Steffi Halm, Jose Rodriguez and Shane Brayton. I think whatever happened out of that final corner was quite fundamental in that. Now, Latchko's got a good run on Lucas Hahn for second place. Everyone else behind them spreading out slightly. We've got 2 Hahn Racing Ivecos and 2 Bagheera Racing Freightliners within 4 or 5 trucks of each other. Antonio Alberthetti ruins the symmetry in the middle. Latchko is down the inside of Hahn. And just listen. The crowd goes absolutely nuts for it because home hero Adam Latchko goes up into second position. They're going to absolutely love that. And now Lucas Hahn just needs to keep his cool and not lose out to Teo Calve because that would be an extra point lost in the Promoters' Cup. He's not, like I say, fighting for the championship. It'd help out Jamie Anderson a whole deal if he can take those points away from Teo or at least stop Teo obtaining that extra one. Norbert Kish has moved up to the back of Sasha Lenz once again. And there's, a big lock-up in front. There's contact, and more contact. And in trying to avoid it, Sasha Lenz goes to the left. Norbert Kish is down the inside, but just doesn't have the push off the corner to get through. That was a strangely un-Norby-like exit of the corner there, but you could see that Jochen Hahn was a bit late on the brakes, maybe gave Antonio and Alberthetti a little bit of a tap, who in turn gave Teo Calve a bit of a tap. Now, Latchko hasn't disappeared down the road here. He's just about in touching distance of Lucas Hahn still. But this has been a fantastic train throughout this race. This is the 8th lap out of 11. We've still got a couple more to go. And something tells me this could definitely kick off any moment now. Norbert Kish pushing championship rival Sasha Lenz. Norbert is just inevitable, isn't he? His pace is absolutely savage. You can guarantee that he's just always going to fill your mirrors. He's trying everything he can to get past Sasha Lenz. And there is Antonio Albacete inspecting the bodywork on the back of Teo Calve's machine. Now Antonio moves to the right. Teo decides to cover that off. You can see them spreading out a bit. They just don't sit behind one another because at the end of the day it might give them a bit of unwanted slipstream and heat up the truck more than needed rather than just having cool air flowing into the front of it. So in this battle it's Latchko, Hahn, Calve, Albacete, Hahn, Lenz and Kish. That is second down to 8th, covered by just a couple of seconds. Jamie Anderson is now 5.3, nearly 5.4 seconds clear at the front of the field. He's had a very strong weekend. He's finished on the podium in each of the races in the Promoters' Cup. He won the second race of the weekend, just ahead of Lucas Hahn. And he's looking to make it a symmetrical one with a race in... Sorry, a race in win? No, a win in races 2 and 4 as it all kicks off between Albacete and Teo Calve. I said it would. Side by side, around the left-hander they go. Bits of bodywork falling off all over the place. Antonio Albacete still down the inside. How does that pan out on the exit? Oh, Teo Calve's off and on the gravel. Teo's going to lose position after position, and that's going to hurt his chances. And I've been told that Stefan Faas has a flat left rear tyre, unfortunately, so his terrible weekend continues to follow the same form, basically. And it looked like there was contact between Jose Rodriguez and Stefan Faas earlier in the race, which is what caused that puncture. And out of the final corner, once again, Jochen Hahn having to defend very, very hard now with Sascha Lenz all over the back of him. Albacete up into 4th place. Hahn and Lenz continuing to stay side by side. Heard from Alice once again, who's in race control. Thank you, Alice, for all the information this weekend. That's the incident between Calve and Albacete is being looked into, and look at that. Jochen Hahn staying in front of Sascha Lenz. Great defensive work there. Lenz has still got Kish behind him as well, so he needs to be careful. We've got this lap and then one more of this race. This is the 10th lap of the race, contrary to what the timer in the top left tells you. That is how many laps is completed. And there's just trucks everywhere in this race. It's an absolute belter, this one. Battles all up and down the order. You can imagine a few tempers. Maybe not happy with some of the contact that we've seen. You can imagine some of the stewards are probably thinking the same thing. But Jamie Anderson, well, he was already out of shot by the time the camera panned around. Jamie is gone. 6.4 seconds now ahead of Adam Latchko. I was thinking that Latchko might actually go chasing after him. But look at this, all the trucks following him have got bits missing. You've got Lucas Hahn with a bit of front bodywork damage. Albacete damage on the left-hand side of his truck. Same again for Jochen Hahn. Sascha Lenz, to be fair, his truck looks all right at the moment. Maybe a bit of a dent and a scrape down the right-hand side on that front corner. Norbert Kish has a bit of bodywork damage on his truck as well from his off earlier in the race. Calve now down in 8th position. But the whole field down to 10th place is only separated by 12 seconds. It's very impressive. These reverse grid races really are exciting. And Jamie Anderson has made his way round the final corner now to complete the 10th lap of the race. So this will be the final lap. Before this season, Jamie hadn't won a single race outright in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He's only been in the championship for 5 years as of this year. And he's been another one that's just a fantastic addition to the grid. Really nice bloke. Great team. Very enthusiastic team. And he had absolutely zero luck last season. But an engine change partway through this championship has really revived his spirit and his pace. And he's thrown himself right up there into the Promoters' Cup battle. Speaking of battle, there's just no shortage of it. Sasha Lenz under big pressure from Norbert Kish. While it would be good for Hahn and Lenz to score more points than Norby this time round, it's not going to be that many more because they're only 1 and 2 positions ahead of him. There's not much of an advantage at all. Bit of a lock-up by Norby as they go into the hairpin. On the exit, he doesn't really have the run. There must be something as a result of maybe some damage earlier. Just means he doesn't have the punch out of the corner like he normally does, whether it's affected the setup or something. We know that the setup on these machines to keep the platform as flat as possible on the bottom of them is very, very important. Now, Alberthetti having to defend from Jochen Hahn. No further action between Calve and Alberthetti. Antonio will be happy with that one, I'm sure. Looked like the two of them just banged wheels and locked together as down the inside, Steffi Halm's gone past Jose Rodriguez, who's gone off the road. Jose went off definitely there at turn 15. Now there is Jamie Anderson. Now look at this gap. He's only got 2 corners to go now. Into turn 21 goes Jamie Anderson. And look at this, he's drifting it already. He knows exactly what he's done. He's already won 1 race this weekend, and considering this truck barely had a turbo going earlier on, this is a hell of an achievement for Jamie Anderson. His 4th win in 2022. Jamie Anderson wins outright, wins the Promoters Cup race as well. What a performance this weekend. Adam Latchko finishes 2nd at his home race. Lucas Hahn gets another overall podium ahead of Alberthetti, Jochen Hahn, Sasha Lenz, Norbert Kish, Theo Calve, Steffi Halm and Jose Rodriguez rounds out the top 10. Shane Brereton there finishing 11th. But wow, Jamie Anderson, what a guy. What a guy. There you go. There's some more of the wonderful drifting that we see. Awesome performance that. Lights to flag for Jamie while all the battles happened behind him. He can be very, very pleased with that. Adam Latchko will get rapturous applause from all around the circuit, you can bet. Finishing in 2nd on his home race. A solid weekend as well, it must be said, for Jonathan Andre. He may have finished at the back of the field on most occasions, but he's still learning, he's still getting used to the truck and itself, how it behaves. And he's done a good job, bless him. He's obviously taken over the seat from where the late Anthony Janiak would have been racing had we not have lost him a few weeks ago. A look at the control from some of these drivers now. The drifting from Jamie Anderson, very, very impressive. You can hear more drifting going on in the background as well. Some of these drivers are real showmen. And there you go, you can hear it here. Is it Norbert Kish? Because Norby's a very good drifter in these things. Now look at the state of Theo Calve's Freightliner. Big damage to the front right corner and big damage to the left rear as well. He's done well to get it home. There is Jamie doing a massive drift around turn 15 under the bridge. And the Czech flag is raised in the air for Adam Latchko. They love him here. And rightly so. He's a great guy. Always got a smile on his face, is Adam Latchko. He was champion in 2017. Hoping to repeat that feat in up-and-coming years. I don't even think he's in... Actually, he does have a mathematical chance. Of taking the title this season, but it's going to be very difficult to take it away from Norbert Kish. And there he is, your race winner, number 33, Jamie Anderson. Of Anderson Racing. The horns being sounded in the background as well. Now apparently Jose Rodriguez is being investigated for an unsafe rejoin onto the circuit. Now we saw him go off at turn 15. So I imagine it's probably related to that. But Jamie Anderson keeps the symmetry going of this weekend. And funnily enough, actually, that is the same top 3 that we had. So, get this. Races 1 and 3, we had Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz and Jochen Hahn on the podium. Races 2 and 4, we've got Jamie Anderson, Adam Latchko and Lucas Hahn on the podium. It's the same in race 2 and race 4. Race 1 and 3, same drivers, just a different order. In the Promoters Cup, Jamie Anderson takes his 2nd win of the weekend. That's 2 apiece for him and Theo Calve. Lucas Hahn finishing second in the category, with Teo Calve still coming home with a Promoters Cup podium as well. Big celebrations at Bagheera, as now we have the awkward moment where Jamie's truck is the only right-hand drive truck in the field, so he has to get out on the right-hand side while all other drivers try to get out on the left. And, of course, they bang the doors together as they do. Lucas Hahn, another great performance by Lucas. Honestly, he has impressed me so much this season. They often say that nice guys finish last, and that is not the case with Lucas. I think Adam Latchko might have just stepped out of his truck, potentially. And there you go. Celebrations all round down there in the pit lane. And there is no action, no further action to be taken on Rodriguez, with what was potentially a unsafe rejoin. It is all good. Adam Latchko thanks his team for their hard work. And second place at your home race, well, that's got to be quite the day at the office, that. They have a wonderful team of people, actually, doing their media and social media. Do Bagheera. They are phenomenal, and to be honest, I know that that's going to make it into whatever social media outlet they post that on. If you don't follow them on Facebook, I urge you to, because if you're into well-shot videography, as I often am, then honestly do it. Some of the production value that goes into their stuff is epic, really epic. You can hear all the horns being sounded in the background. Some of the drivers have some very funky soundtracks to their horns. And hopefully in just a few moments, we will try and catch a word with either our race winner or some of our podium finishers. I can see Andreas down there, and I believe I see Jamie Anderson walking towards him right now for a chat. There is the front of Teo Calve's truck, very much caved in after what must have been quite a big hit. I think he might have actually hit one of the penalty markers there to do that, although they don't often damage the trucks to that extent, so maybe it just got caught in the ground or something when he was bouncing over the gravel. There is your overall top three. Two of them from the Promoters Cup as well. Adam is speaking to the team and looking at Jamie's truck. Clearly something worth looking at on the right-hand side. And it's worth speaking to Jamie as well, actually. Andreas is down there with him now.
Yes, Chess, you are right. I'm with Jamie Anderson, winner of the last race of the weekend. Jamie, you took a start-finish win here at the last race in Most. It looks like easy and no problems from the turbo, is it right?
Yeah, no, we had a good start, a very good start, and from there we bridged the gap. And the turbo was fine, you know, no boost problems. Towards the end we just started dying off a bit, the front tyres were gone. But no, it was a good, consistent race, and we pulled a good gap.
Fourth win for you in this season in the ETRC. Do you think about maybe next year to compete in the ETRC and not on the Promoters Cup?
Yeah, definitely. At the minute, the way we stand, if we continue where we are, we will have no choice to. I think we're in a good way at the minute, and thanks to Sasha and his guys, we've worked very good together. They've helped me along the way, and we're pushing on now.
Thank you so far. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Jamie really is making an impact this season. 4 wins now outright. And that is certainly a way to grab people's attention. That him and the team have had a lot of hard luck before now, but now they're doing a very good job. There is the damage on the back of Teo Calve's truck. It often looks a lot worse than it is. The bodywork does hang and wave around a lot more than you'd expect on these things. It's very light and flimsy bodywork. You can see just how tiny the cab is, though, in these Freightliners. It literally does end right behind the driver where their seat is. And it's the truck that actually hometown hero Adam Latchko drives, and Andreas is down there to have a quick chat with him.
Yes, Adam, so our commentator Chess said hometown hero. on place 2 or position 2 at the end of the weekend. Are you satisfied, and do you think the crowd is cheering for you?
Yeah, I think it's very good race for spectators, for fans, because we're fighting with Lucas, I think 6-7 laps. And after I passed him, and this is especially at home very, very perfect for me. And I'm very happy for the second place for me and for all team.
Yeah. Lucas, you said you're fighting with him 6-7 laps. He's a really young driver and not so experienced. What do you think about the younger Hahn driver?
Oh, Lucas is perfect. I remember when he's starting testing, and he's fast before, and now he's growing and he's better and better.
And for you, I think a really satisfying weekend because now you get another trophy.
Yes, at home when you get a trophy, it's perfect, and I'm very happy.
Thank you. Up to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to hear from Adam Latchko, and it's great to see him complimenting Lucas Hahn as well. And obviously Lucas has been testing with these guys for quite a bit, but he's just grown so much as a racer, and the maturity is really starting to show through. It's excellent. Jamie Anderson takes another race victory. Coming into this year, he didn't have a single overall race win. Now he's got 4. It's an epic season for him already. 2 in 1 weekend as well. Adam Latchko, second place though. Like he said there, it means a lot to get a great result at home. Second overall is nothing to complain about at all, is it? Lucas Hahn, another overall podium for him as well. His father will be very, very proud. Antonio Alberthetti just misses out on another podium to add to his massive tally. And then we have the 3 championship protagonists, Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kisch, 5th, 6th and 7th. I'm sure they all expected a bit more from that race. And that's only because Teo Calvé had his moment in front of them as well. They would have all basically finished where they started if it wasn't for Teo having his off. Steffi Halm finished in 9th place. She was very under the radar in that one. Jose Rodriguez finishes inside the top 10 overall and scores a championship point. Shane Brereton misses out, 16 seconds off the lead, but just finishes behind Jose. Stefan Faas was 12th. Andre Kurzim was just behind him in 13th, only 4 tenths between them. And Jonathan Andre continuing to improve after his first weekend in the championship. We look forward to having him back with us at the next race meetings. So here we go then. The overall podium is the first one up. You can see everybody standing by. And we're going to have Lucas Hahn making his way up after a very impressive performance once again. It's not Jamie Anderson, I can tell you that for free. I'm sure if Lucas had the podium flipped the other way around, he would have been quite happy to inherit the victory, but I can tell the podium announcer it is definitely not Jamie Anderson in 3rd. Listen to the roar. As Adam Latchko steps onto the podium to take 2nd place, it may not be a win, but still, as it says on the back of the overalls, respect. And Jamie Anderson, well, this is going to be the 4th time he's stood on the top step of the podium this weekend. Twice for overall results, twice for Promoters' Cup results as well. And it is his 4th podium appearance in the Promoters' Cup this weekend. Oh, absolutely awe-inspiring turnaround of a season for Jamie. Well done to Lucas as well. Another trophy to go with the many that I'm sure there are in the Hahn family trophy cabinet. Adam Latchko scores yet another podium. And that is actually going to be Adam Latchko's 166th podium in his career. And for the 4th time this season, Jamie Anderson takes the win. And there you go, the national anthem of Great Britain plays out through Most once again. And the guys will now stand on the top step of the podium. They will get their pictures. And now they're going to change their caps to their own branded hats. Oh, look at that. Lucas is ready. Jamie doesn't have his with him again. And there you go. And now we all know that Lucas Hahn is good with a bottle of champagne. We all know Jamie's good with a bottle of champagne. We've not seen Adam's champagne performances for quite a while, especially in race 4 when they get to spray one another. Let's see what happens here. Oh, the kids at the front getting absolutely drenched, bless them. Jamie Anderson gets a face full of it from Adam Latchko and launches the hat. Jamie often gives away his hats and trophies as well. Actually, I've got one sat next to me right now on my desk from the Hungara ring earlier in the season. He's a very generous guy, very giving is Jamie Anderson. And he knows that these mementos mean a lot to people, so he gives them away basically all the time. He collects the memories of racing and obviously the accolades in a different form. Here are the championship standings then. Look at that, 60 points clear Norbert Kish now from Jochen Hahn. That is an entire race meeting worth of points. He's been reeled in by 2 points since the last one, but he won't mind. That is still a very impressive gap. Sasha Lenz is currently third on 184. He's slipped away from Jochen Hahn a little bit more this weekend. Adam Latchko right back in the fight, though, you could say, with those guys ahead. He's definitely got a chance to catch up with them. Antonio Alberthetti just a little bit further out of reach, unfortunately. Steffi Hallman, 6th. Jamie Anderson moves up to 7th. Andre Kurzim is 8th on 60 points with Theo Calve now 200 points off Norbert Kish. Lucas Hahn inside the top 10 overall, despite this only being his second race meeting this season. Shane Brereton is 11th on 29 points. He's 8 clear of Jose Rodriguez, who now gets out of that tie break with Stefan Fass. We have Anthony Janiak in 14th position with Rene Reiner and Martin Gibson. They were sharing the 77 Reiner racing truck on 11 and 5 points apiece. Henrik Clemens Hecker is tied with Martin on 5, with Thomas Robineau propping up the scoreboard with just the single point so far. Now this is the Promoters' Cup podium. Theo Calve in 3rd place. Lucas Hahn will make his way back around onto the podium for some more champagne and 2nd place. And you can tell by Theo's body language that he's not the happiest bunny in the world after that one, and understandably so. Because not only did he have a rough race, but Jamie Anderson, his main rival in the Promoters' Cup, took another victory and took some more points away. And we're going to get the trophies back out for them. Theo Calve, or Calveta, as the announcer says in Czech. Lucas Hahn gets his 2nd place trophy. He's collected quite a substantial amount of them this weekend as Lucas. And then more trophies going the way of Jamie Anderson and his wonderful team. More hard work put in. And another national anthem of Great Britain. And there you go, the national anthem of Great Britain once more for Jamie Anderson. And they will have the pictures taken. And then they will change the caps, or at least the 2 guys at the sides will, I'm sure. Oh, they're just going to have the champagne this time. The rest of them make a run for it, and you can see, look, Theo Calve, not a happy boy. They decide not to spray each other. They're going to save that for a drink later on. So apologies for the lack of champagne shower there, but still, we'll have a look at the Promoters' Cup. Theo Calve still leading that one on 221 points over Jamie Anderson, now 8 points clear, so he's actually extended his gap this weekend. Shane Brereton is 3rd on 185 points. Jose Rodriguez in 4th, just ahead of Stefan Fass, who's had a real character-building time at Most. Then it's Heinrich Clemens Hecker, just clear of Lucas Hahn, but look at that, 86 points already from 2 meetings for Lucas. That's very impressive. Martin Gibson, 8th, ahead of Thomas Robineau, and Louis Rikwenko, who are now tied on points for 9th and 10th. And then behind them we have Jonathan Andre, 14 points from his first meeting. That's not bad going at all. We look forward to seeing how he gets on for the rest of the season. Emma Mäkinen, Stefan Kirsch and Erwin Klein-Nagelvort round out your 14 trucks that have scored points this season in the Promoters' Cup. Let's have a look then at how that race all panned out. We're all smiles and all ready to go for the final race of the weekend. It's been a very chaotic and busy one for all of the teams and drivers. It seems like it has gone by in a complete flash. Work being completed right until the very end. Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz making it into the race at the very last minute after drama while they left their awnings to make their way to the grid. Great start by Jamie to completely clear Lucas Hahn before they even got to turn 1. More of a check-up behind in the background as well. And look at the drama here with Andrei Kurzim, Stefan Faas all over the place as well as other drivers try to get through. Norbert Kish having to try his very best as well to stay out of trouble as he needed to make his way back through the order. Antonio Alberthetti and Jochen Hahn being as solid as ever with their defence of their positions. Great battling though between some of the real titans of the championship. And Norbert Kish, after a small incident and getting together, dropping more places, had to do it all over again. And getting past Steffi Halm was the first part of the task. Adam Latchko moved up into second place to get past Lucas Hahn. The crowd absolutely loving it here at Autodrom Must. And yet more incidents, contact and great battling going on between the 6, 7 and even 8 trucks that we had all glued together at certain points over the race. Alberthetti would ultimately get past Teo Calve. There would be no further action for their little coming together all the way down to turn 13. Teo unfortunately dropping a number of positions and obviously showing unhappy body language at the end. Quite the opposite though for Jamie Anderson. 4 wins this season, 2 wins in one weekend. What a fantastic, fantastic time for him and his team. Very well done and well deserved. We're going to go straight down though to Andreas, who is going to speak to Lucas Hahn.
Jess, you are absolutely right. Lucas, the question is, you took more trophies and more podium this weekend than your father, Jochen. How is it to be on the podium so often?
It's a really good feeling to be there. I have to learn every race, and I take my experience, and I'm really happy to stay on the podium so much times.
We saw in the race you battling with Adam Latchko, I think 6 or 7 laps, and then you let him pass. Was it by purpose or hello? By purpose that you want to don't do silly things?
Yeah, I had him 6 laps in the back, and we have some fights. I let him live, but in the end he was a lot of quicker, and he was nearly at the side of me, and I just let him go without the accident, and that I can hold the 3rd place.
So we have now 3 more race weekends, 3 events. Will we see Lucas Hahn maybe in Zolder or at the end in Jarama?
In Jarama I will be at the ceremony from the standings, but I don't think that I will drive a race this year more.
Okay. What a pity. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you.
And back to you, Chess.
Oh, that is a massive shame to hear, isn't it? Unfortunately, not having Lucas Hahn on the grid for the rest of the season, but still, it'll be good to go and see him at Jarama. I'll be there also, so I look forward to seeing him again. Zolder is the next race meeting, though, just next weekend. I cannot wait. It's going to be a very tight and twisty weekend there. And then, of course, we have Le Mans Bugatti circuit just 2 weeks later. And then after that, back-to-back, we go to Jarama at the start of October, where the championship will be finished. But for now, it has been an absolute pleasure, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us this weekend at Autodrom Most in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. I've been Chaz Draycott, and I will see you in a week's time. Have a great evening.